Today we're going to look at supporting opinions and claims in informational text, and this is on page 29 in the Grab and Go. We have one secure skill and then a developing and a beginning skill. So only one thing that's going to be tested on, but other things that we're going to work on. So the secure skill is to identify which reasons and evidence support which particular points in the text. But then we're going to work on evaluating which claims the author supported with facts and evidence, free from bias, and those supported with opinions. So often when we are looking at someone who's presenting something that's opinion-based, we need to be able to separate out what is just their opinion and what is based on actual facts and evidence that you can really get behind. And then beginning is evaluate whether the reasoning and evidence is sound, credible, and relevant. And that is actually a 7th grade skill that we are going to look at, we're going to talk about, but it won't be tested on until later. So some vocabulary that we need is bias, which is prejudice in favor for or against something compared to another, usually in a way to be considered unfair. Credible, able to be believed, convincing. Reasoning, persuade with rational argument, and relevant, closely connected to the topic. So as we're looking here, what we're going to work on here is more examples of how authors support their text than looking at one and picking out the individual things. So a micro story is a way that an author supports what they have in a text, and that would be a short story that gives an example. So if I wanted to talk about saving sea turtles, then maybe I would give a short story about Yellow Blue and how he was saved from the ocean because he was cold and stunned and needed to be moved to Florida. Another thing that you can add is a statement from an expert. And a statement from an expert, what an expert says that is more trustworthy because they are an expert. In other words, if you just walk up to a random stranger on the street and ask them how to solve a math problem, their answer might be completely wrong. But if you go and ask Mrs. Germain, she would be trustworthy because she's an expert, so her answer would have more value. Rather than going down, I'm actually going to move over here to factual text. So factual text in a story are proven facts, and then they're trustworthy. Again, trying to separate this out from opinion and looking at, can I prove it? Then it's more trustworthy. Specifically, as part of factual text would be factual numbers. Numbers can add trust and help the reader understand. So this would be something like how many turtles are endangered, or how many red wolves are there left in the world. And those numbers can add to whether we trust what is being said. Do we really think that it's a problem? Or is someone saying, we need to save sea turtles, there's only 20 million of them left in the world. When we hear that number, it's like, wait a minute. Why do they need to be saved? So those numbers can help us form our own opinion. So for more ways that authors support their opinions and claims, they can use graphics and charts. And visuals help readers understand. If there's a pie chart that shows me things, if there's a column chart that lets me know how many people have earned a badge in a given topic, that helps me understand what's going on. Images. Whoops. Whoa, big whoops. Photographs and illustrations help readers understand a topic. If I can see how much pollution is, how many plastics are like floating in the ocean, that helps me understand how big of a problem it is, rather than someone just saying, there's plastic bottles in the ocean. An image helps me understand how bad the problem is. For table or infographic, that organize facts and numbers to help the reader understand, and then I can see things like, if I put all of the different grade levels and then I see how they're doing on a given test, I then know how they're doing specifically maybe in math versus reading. And an inset would be extra facts or stories that add to but won't fit into the main paragraphs. Sometimes when an author is making a point, they need to have this they know this other fact that goes with it, it's related to it, helps prove their point, but it doesn't fit into the main paragraph, and then they do an inset. You could also call it a sidebar or information in a box, any of those things. It's still a way that an author adds more information to convince us towards their claim or their opinion.